Nah, you continue to be the most devious person I know.
I think Transformers is at a real low point right now. We're coming off the tails of Legacy, which was a fantastic toy line. There was a lot of stuff that was really the first time, in my opinion, where we got to see the generations put into generations. Everything felt like it got a representation. I think they got like one figure from like almost every piece of Transformers media into that series. I think we got just about everything in Legacy with a couple exceptions here and there. Same thing with War for Cybertron. That was a fantastic toy line where we got to see a lot of fresh takes in Siege, which undoubtedly I know a lot of people are hateful towards Siege now, but Siege was pretty good. Earthrise was a little sloppy, and then we kind of brought it back with Kingdom. There were some good designs there, and then that continued into Legacy. At no point did I really feel like, wow, we are at a low point for Transformers until I was making my end of the year list for 2025, and I was like, wow, I went from getting a substantial amount of figures to I can count on like one hand how many I got from Age of the Primes. I wanted to kind of talk about like what made Legacy so great versus Age of the Primes. Like where's the changeover here? The first thing I want to talk about is the gimmick figures. From War for Cybertron to I guess kind of now, we have been used to getting a weaponizer style figure. Whether that be the actual weaponizers, the fossilizers, the armorizers, or the junkions, it seems that those kind of went away. We still see things like them. Take, for example, Micronus and Amalgus Prime. Both of them feature ideas that are like weaponizers, but they're not quite there. Someone pointed out to me that the weaponizer or gimmick figure for Age of the Primes is the Primes themselves. They all come with an artifact. And I can't really disagree with that, but I can say that they are kind of some of the most boring gimmick figures that we've gotten from the toy line. I really enjoyed the Junkions, or at least the repaints of them, like Lockdown and Road Pig and Towline. I really like Towline. And then the Fossilizers are some of the most interesting, like original characters we've gotten. The Weaponizers were a fun addition as well. Modulators even were fun for the Micromasters. It was great to get bases for those, so much so that I have all 6 of them. Whereas the Primes, I've gotten rid of all of my Primes. I did not keep them. I bought a chunk of them. The only one who I actually ended up keeping was Star Optimus Prime, and that's just because it's more so a really good Titan than it is a good figure, and I can find a place for a giant Optimus Prime in my collection. I just don't think that Age of the Primes really hit the ground running by removing the functionality that we had grown so used to. I do want to preface before we get into the next part, this is all my opinion. This is just me talking about the toy line because I noticed that I didn't buy as much, and we will get to some stats here. Granted, the control group is a little biased. Moving forward, I think the waves are weaker. Now, both Legacy and Age of the Primes didn't have a very good opening wave. I think both of these had pretty weak waves. With Age of the Primes, you had 2 combiner limbs, Wasp, Red Alert, and then a G2 Grimlock and Megatronus. Megatronus being the real standout here. I think that was a fantastic leader class. But even if we look back at Legacy Wave 1, you had an Insecticon, you had Dragstrip, a combiner limb, you had RC, which granted not great. You did have Skids, who's a pretty solid deluxe, and then you had Bulkhead, who kind of a rough Voyager, and then the leader class, which was Laser Optimus, again, a really good leader class. So I think overall, you had some good stuff in Legacy Year 1 or Legacy Wave 1 versus Age of the Primes Wave 1 more so. Granted, some people will say, oh, well, Bulkhead's not that good. Some people say Red Alert's not that good. Some people say the aerial bots are more interesting. Some people will say that the Insecticon and RC and Dragstrip are more interesting. It's just one of those things where both of these waves are kind of weak, but for me, the only character that I kept from the wave 1 of Age of the Primes was Wasp, the repaint. So it's just not for me. And I think that's where it comes down to, because even looking more forward into Age of the Primes, there's a lot of stuff that's not for me. Granted, yeah, we got a Skybite. That's fantastic. Um, and Star Optimus Prime is great. But even trying to go in on Bruticus with the price hikes, which I definitely think is a factor here, it is harder to be a Transformer fan right now than it was during Legacy and War for Cybertron, where yes, we had price increases, but nothing on the level like this. We had them $1, $2 over the course of a couple years, and now we're getting to like an $8, $5 price hike just out of the blue. And I understand that just kind of comes with the world that we are in right now. I want to talk about some stats. I wanted to show off some stuff, so I'm going to put up some images here. Me and my friend Maka in the Discord server, by the way, check out the link in the description. Join the Patreon for just $1 to get access to the Discord server. We went through and we decided to look at our purchases from Age of the Primes and Legacy, all 3 years of Legacy versus Age of the Primes, to see kind of what we bought and what we kept, how we obtained it. So from the chart, we were able to kind of determine that I picked up 96 figures, I believe, grand total, and 46 of them I I got at full price, I believe. And so with that number, I looked at how many I kept, and I got rid of about half of these figures. So it has about half a retention rate. And then we look at Age of the Primes, which I was able to determine I bought about 10 figures or 10 sets of figures, whether that be in a 4-pack or otherwise. We did not include multi-packs as multiple figures. And so then looking at that, the keep number, or the overturn number was 5.5. So also about the same, but 5 out of 10 figures is a lot less than keeping almost half of what I bought from Legacy, especially after I just did my purge to put Iron Factory in. Maka found that he purchased most of his stuff on sale as well. So it's one of those things where it's like, how much of this do you want to actually include? Because I know there are a lot of collectors who do only purchase on sale. They only get things when there's a deal. I don't think that Age of the Primes is a bad toy line, and I know that there are people who are really, really enjoying it. I think that the fact that the Primes are getting bespoke molds is really nice. It's great to see more unique figures coming out. Well, things like Skybite, who probably doesn't have a retool coming up anytime soon. I'm sure it's in there, just not anytime soon. And same with the Primes, where they're like, yeah, these don't have remolds. And we're seeing more figures and more characters get bespoke molds than before. And we even got to see the fact that Grimlock was able to come with wheelie again, something that the yellow G2 one and the Shattered Glass one didn't do. They didn't come with wheelie. So to actually have him come back with that is really, really nice. I think that shows that core class going away gave us a little bit more budget. I also think that core class going away is kind of a bad thing. It's just one of those things where having a $10 size class that you can just go into the store, grab kind of an impulse purchase, is like that going away does kind of suck. Cyberworld does a pretty good job at filling that gap, though. I wish they had elbows. I do think that Transformers is in a interesting position here, and I think we're at a turning point for the franchise in terms of collecting. We're seeing studio series go way more animation accurate, even to the point where Evan has said, oh yeah, Optimus and Megatron done during a transition point. We could do them again. I don't know how I feel about that. I do think that we are hitting another, not like recessionary period for Transformers, but it's not also a low point. It's just a point where a lot of collectors are going to be more picky, more choosy. We're going to have to put a lot more thought into what we're buying or what we are going in on in terms of our personal collection. I don't think we're going to see nearly as many people buying entire waves, and I think that's been the case since Age of the Primes launched. And with a year to kind of look back on it, I think that ends up being true. This is something that I've been kind of sitting on, kind of thinking about for a little while, and I wanted to voice this opinion, get it out there, see what you guys thought as well, especially as someone who, you know, kind of looked at the state of collecting, looked at how figures are, where we're at, and then decided, hey, I'm gonna kind of go towards 3P after these price hikes. So let me know what you guys feel about this. Let me know what you think of Age of the Primes versus War for Cybertron and Legacy, the rest of the Weaponizer era, and I will see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, check out that Patreon, and I'll see you in the next one. This has been Bots Obsession. You can click that video right there. Thanks.